What's up, guys? Thomas Mod here, alongside Josh Davis. It is Wednesday at 7 p.m., meaning it is time for the Wednesday Link Live. Josh, the Eagles are 3-0, right? Can we at least be excited for the fact that the Eagles are 3-0 before we start getting upset about stuff, which I'm sure we're going to at some
We're gonna
point
jump
during the
into
show
something.
tonight. They're undefeated, one of 3 teams. How about that?
They are. They're undefeated. They're one of 3 teams, 3-0, like you mentioned. So I'm happy about it. We've talked about it. We've done some shows about it as well. But the positive takeaways and what we've heard from the team also is you're winning, and winning is the only thing that matters. And if we want to bring up some other groups, speaking of this being a divisional game coming up against the Commanders,
Yeah.
I mean, Dallas was supposed to just roll the Cardinals, right? Every team's supposed to roll the Cardinals, and if you treat them lightly, you have some mistakes and penalties, call it what you may, Dak being Dak, whatever it is, they don't win a game that you should definitely win. So, yeah, there's areas that you need to get better at. Sirianni said it. The whole team has. But the biggest positive and the biggest takeaway is you're 3-0, leading the division, and you've won the games you should win so far.
I'm going to do something that no Eagle fan on the face of the earth has done yet. I'm going to give some credit to Jonathan Gannon for about 2 seconds here because everyone hates him and thinks that he obviously lost the Super Bowl for Philadelphia,
kudos.
maybe rightfully so. But Jonathan Gannon's Arizona Cardinals were supposed to be winless this year. They're a lot more competitive than we would think, and they beat the Cowboys. So we can cut them a little break, right? I mean, come on. You beat the Cowboys for us. We're sitting 3-0. They're 2-1. Congratulations, Jonathan Gannon. Welcome in a bunch of people to the Wednesday Link Live. First time joining us, we're going to get into a ton of topics regarding the Birds and obviously around the rest of the National Football League. We'll answer your questions. By the way, if you guys are looking for a new jersey, which we know maybe some of you are, we had a lot of success with this during the NFL draft. Gave away 3 Jalen Carter jerseys, which look like they're going to be maybe 3 Defensive Rookie of the Year jerseys.
Yeah.
We're giving away another jersey on Sundays during Sunday's game against the Washington Commanders. You guys know the drill. You need to drop a super chat. $1 1 entry, $5 5 entries, and so on and so forth. Be subbed to both channels, and at the end of the third quarter, Eagles and the Washington Commanders, we're going to give away a jersey, whether midnight green or black of your choice. We can't do Kelly green, Josh, because they're like R9, and it would take another 4 months to get it. So we want a jersey that you can have now, and that's why we're giving it away now. So good stuff. Good stuff.
There you go. What would you go with? We've had this conversation before, but if you have your option of picking a jersey, because I talked about this with Sandy. We've got to get a jersey for her too. So, but curious to know yours first. If you had to pick, what jersey you going with?
Paige and I, because we're both going with you guys to the Eagles-Dolphins game, Kelly Green. You can't not wear Kelly Green to the Kelly Green jersey night in Philadelphia, the first one in, 60 years or whatever the number is, right? So,
Right.
Well, I guess besides the Vic year, but either way. So we're both going to get Kelly Green jerseys, but we're going to have to get them probably at the stadium. And 2, I don't know who to get. I'm considering Jalen Carter. The problem is, I'm like a 5'9", 160-pound white dude, and Jalen Carter is like a massive defensive tackle. And so I wear Devontae Smith because it's slim, he's quick, he's fast, kind of like me. I don't know if I look right in a Jalen Carter jersey, right? I can't buy a Jordan Davis jersey unless I want to, be a little unique. Although your last name is Davis, and if they were going to ever buy a jersey that just had your name on it, maybe Jordan Davis makes more sense for you. I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, and I hear you about the whole Jalen Carter thing, but we were talking, and Sandy was kind of leaning towards getting a Jordan Davis one to the point that you made. It's like, hey, it's twofold. You have the Davis on the back, and you're supporting the Eagles as well. So I don't know, you can't go wrong with that. But Donatello Dragon says, speaking of Kelly Green, LOL, with a $2 super chat. So yeah, I got the Kelly Green jersey there in the pick. I'm loving it.
Well, remember, Donatello Dragon won a Kelly Green jersey, and his has not arrived yet. So that's one of the reasons why we're doing a normal jersey, because we don't want to be giving away jerseys that people can't wear forever. Although I hope Donatello's come sooner rather than later. But you're entered in for two more chances to win a normal jersey.
We got you down there.
And Stoner, who won our hoodie, which I believe was bought and shipped today, gives 10 entries. He says, "Go Birds." Stoner, we appreciate that. If you guys want to drop a super chat, it's down below the comment button. I believe it's a little dollar bill looking sign. That's how you do it. So in case you guys were wondering. Okay, let's get into a little bit of Monday night. We've both done reaction shows to it. I saw yours. You probably saw mine. People were watching both of those the past couple of days. Overall, I'll be really quick. Really good win. There is still instances of Jalen Hurts missing people. Dan Orlovsky did an incredible job on the 6 o'clock Sports Center last night, which I happened to be watching with dinner, where he broke down about 6 plays where he's kind of queuing in on A.J. Brown, and over here is Dallas Goedert, which made me think Goddard is way, way, way overdue for a 100-yard game, and he's open enough to get one. So there are still issues, but the defense is going to be better than it was last year, and that's very, very hard to say because they're not going to have the same amount of sacks. But overall, the impact the defensive front is making is insane. It's insane to watch. And my quick final point here as we move on from this quickly, Reed Blankenship is a serious football player. He makes really, really great plays, and he allows Sidney Brown to get inserted into the lineup. I think having Blankenship back there gave the Eagle coaching staff way more confidence in the secondary as a whole to give opportunities to young players like Sidney Brown when you might not actually want him to be in the game for fear of making a rookie mistake, making that boneheaded move that we've talked about. Blankenship has grown faster than maybe any player I've seen defensively in recent Eagle history, from being undrafted, not playing at all, to being thrust into a starting role when Gardner Johnson went down, and now he's, besides Jalen Carter, one of the most impressive players on that defense. Last night, or I should say Monday night, was a big eye-opener for me to say, this Bird secondary is really serious with Reed Blankenship back there.
For sure, no doubt, and I'm right there with you. You watch it, and it's sometimes hard to remember, like, oh wait, this guy is still very new to the league. Like the plays that he makes and the reactions, yeah. I mean, you look at it there, but hey, he's good milk. I don't know what the official nickname is. I think it's still the Ghost, but I've seen people on Twitter and others saying like, no, we got to get something else. They're gonna go with Milk Check. Although he did post on Instagram.
That's terrible.
I don't think it is either. But he posted on Instagram Milk Check, so I don't know if that's him nodding to it and saying that's what he prefers. But
yeah,
I like the Ghost personally. But either way, I mean, he's locked down, and you make a good point. You talk about having him back there and establishing that presence. I think you did have a lot more comfortability because you see him being able to kind of read and direct players as well. I don't know if you've heard anything about this. I haven't seen anything so far, but we talk about the green dot wear, and he did it back in the game where Nakobe had gotten injured, and he did it a little bit as well as Christian Ellis. I just wonder if he's getting some of those signals and calls. Now, Nicholas Morrow has been the green dot wearer as well, but just having another guy back there that Sean Desai trusts, you can tell it just gets the defense a little bit more of a calming presence. And yeah, you saw a little bit over the middle where you're getting beat, that kind of same susceptible part of the defense, but not near as much. And again, Reed Blankenship plays a huge factor in that. So I'm totally with you. I think he's a game changer. And we have a lot of those guys. We could talk about the defense, but overall, just to sum it up as well on my side, I think same deal. You take away the win, like what we opened up with. It's a win. You win. You go 1-0 every single week. You're 3-0 so far. You're leading the division. You're not playing at your best, and you realize that. But so does everyone else. Like, look at the tweets and the reactions of someone saying, "Wow, the Eagles just won 25-11. Looked like they played maybe 75% of the potential at best, and had almost 500 yards of total offense and limited the Bucs to 174." Like, come on. The positives are there. We can get better. I think we will get better. The play calling, Jalen being able to see some of those open receivers. But overall, I'm very pleased, very happy with where we're at so far.
Josh H throws 5 into the pot for a Eagles jersey given away on Sunday afternoon. Any thoughts on Hurts? Is off right now because they're trying to protect him from running. Running injuries. Sorry, I didn't see at the bottom. I don't know if it's that. And I saw another comment here from Michael saying, oh, well, he had the flu, and so maybe that played an impact on what was going on. I don't think they're trying to protect him from anything. I think he's just overthinking a little bit. And we've seen this happen to plenty of quarterbacks. Josh Allen, very, very recently, week 1 against the Jets, very much overthinking in a losing effort with way more interceptions and turnovers than Jalen Hurts has historically done. And yet the Jets have started to figure things out. The Bills have started to figure things out. Big win against the Washington Commanders. Allen looks much, much better. Hurts is not at that low of a point that Josh Allen got to week 1 against the Jets. But I do think that there is a little bit to say that, hey, a guy who's so stoic, a guy who's so serious, he seems like nothing phases him, he just blocks out all the noise, still gets a little bit of noise through. There's still a little bit. You don't think that he heard anything about all the hype this offseason, or he didn't have a little bit of pressure going into 2023 after his record-setting performance? You're crazy. He obviously had some. He knows that this team is going to go as far as he takes them, and there's a little bit of nerves there with all the talent that's around him. I think A.J. Brown's, issues on Thursday night against the Vikings didn't help. I think he needs to just calm down a little bit. I think he's going to be just fine. But you said it. They had almost 500 yards of offense. They have almost 1,000 yards of offense the past 2 weeks, and the offense is struggling. 1,000 yards.
Not a bad place to be.
Goodness gracious. Like, they move the football. To me, the one offensive issue that to me is glaring is the red zone play calling. And we can get to Tush Push later on. People are getting sick and tired of that whole thing. The brotherly shove, whatever you want to call it. But they do need to be a little more effective. I don't know if it's play calling. I don't know if it's efficiency. I don't know if it's Hurts, whatever. They need to be more effective in the red zone because when you play Kansas City and you have to score 30, you can't settle for 25 and multiple red zone trips with a big nothing burger. Can't happen.
No, for sure. I mean, they have to be, to your point. They have to be better. They're what, 25th, I think, in the league is what I saw in the red zone efficiency. So not good. But yes, you will get better, I think. I agree. The flu-like symptoms, yeah, I can give him some because, I don't know, for any of us who've been sick, you obviously know it's hard to process anything, let alone go out full speed. But it's not super alarming to me. So I mean, you kind of what you were talking about as well. Can he get a little bit better? Sure, he can.
Yeah.
But there's also with the pick, I don't have a problem with him throwing it up to Devontae Smith. It's a little tight of a window, but it's Devontae Smith. Try to make a play, sure, whatever. The DB made a good play on it. The other interception to Swift, I don't know. I don't know who it was. It seems like it was DeAndre Swift's fault. Jalen didn't flat out say that, but he also didn't just say, no, that's on me. He didn't take the full blame, which makes you think that it would probably be a Swift not making or kind of making the right run or the read on that pass option there. So overall, yeah, I mean, could he be a little bit better? Sure. But we're early in the season. I think he'll get it figured out. Not too worried. But questioning and too, I mean, going, I guess, on the flip side for the defensive side of the ball. We got a comment here. Clifford Snyder says Blankenship and Brown will become known as the Killer Bees. I think that's pretty good. While we're talking about nice. The ghost nickname and all the other things there, you get both those back there. But that is the question. Obviously, even with the title here, is Sidney Brown the answer at slot? So let's just kind of dive into it there. I'll throw it to you first, but is Sidney Brown the answer at slot, and or do we expect to see Sidney Brown a lot more frequently now after how he played in limited action, albeit very limited action, but he did get 12 plays against the Bucs?
Well, he had 0 week 1, and then he had 1 week 2, and then he had 12 week 3. So we're moving upwards in terms of his overall play.
Direction.
And like you said, in the right direction. I thought you made some really good points during our broadcast that there were a couple times Bradberry looked a little bit uncomfortable is probably the word in the slot, although overall they held Mike Evans in check. Chris Godwin basically did nothing. I mean, besides that one nice drive that ended in the Mike Evans touchdown and the Godwin 2-point, they were pretty much held in check. And so I think that Sean Desai has an interesting philosophy where he doesn't have a set 11 guys in that defense. Now, we know he rotates the fronts, but there were times you saw Christian Ellis play linebacker, and there have been times that Nicholas Morrow and Christian Ellis have been linebackers together. It's not a set, Cunningham's got to be in there, and then you go to the safety spot. Justin Evans gets injured, they rotate Edmunds in there, sometimes it's Sidney Brown. They're moving people all over this defense, and it feels like he's either more of a whoever's got the hot hand, where we heard that before, plays this snap, or he has specific packages where he wants to see Sidney Brown in the game, or he wants to see Christian Ellis in the game, and that's how he kind of motivates and uses the defense. I don't know which one's true. I would guess the latter, but I think we're going to see more and more of Sidney Brown to the point where if there were an injury, he'll be fully ready to take over. And that's kind of how I feel with the Sidney Brown process. And we can say the same about Nolan Smith. Smith got the most plays he's had through 3 weeks. He got basically nothing week 1, very tiny amount in week 2, had a nice quarterback hit at Baker Mayfield here in week 3, and a couple of dropbacks and coverage of Mike Evans, the linebacker spot in the zone. They're slowly trying to make sure these guys are not only getting valuable reps for future seasons, because you're not redshirt them this year. You got to get some expertise and knowledge morphed in there. But if you have another injury at safety, and Sidney Brown must start 24/7, he's hopefully getting to a point where he can be ready. You have another injury at pass rusher, and Nolan Smith has to play a lot more. He's a lot more comfortable than saying, hey, here's breadcrumbs, and then we're going to give you a whole loaf all of a sudden. It's breadcrumbs, and then you get a little bite, and then he gets a piece, and then he gets half a slice, and then so on and so forth. So I think overall, they've done a really, really good job, and the beautiful part is they're able to do this while still winning games, Josh, and that's the important thing. Out of everything we're going to say tonight, they won the game, and they still are doing so, and they're 3-0.
Yes, yeah, that is, again, we'll keep harping on that, but that's the most important thing. But I'm with you. They're staying hungry. I mean, heck, Nolan Smith even had the shirt. What it was it? I'm starved or I'm starving, something like that, where he wore it on the first game. But yeah, I mean, staying hungry. They're getting to learn. They're getting to grow. I think it's a positive on the side of, again, injuries we never want to happen, and nothing certainly of a major variety, but a positive in the sense of you're getting some guys to step into some action now, where, say, if you get later onto the season and you have to get a guy pressed into action, like a situation similar to a C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Reed Blankenship, that guys are not just like a fish out of water, like, oh my gosh, this hasn't happened so far in the year. So you're fighting the adversity, you're being able to still be successful because you're winning these games, and you're getting guys the playing time like you talked about. So I think that, in my opinion, you need to get Sidney Brown out there as much as you can. Granted, he played slot in college. We've talked about that before, his comfortability there. But at the same time, if they're still going, we're gonna manage this thing, we're gonna slowly get him in there and get involved, that's okay. I'm not terribly against it because, again, we've got a long season to go. Who knows who's able to stay healthy if you do have to have him fill in other areas. But I do like the fact, too, that, I mean, Sidney Brown mentioned it in his interview, saying that, I'm here wherever they need me, however they need me to help. If it was to be drafted at safety, that's great. But if not, I can play in slot. So his athleticism, I mean, it's not hard to watch. I think we all realize you watch a little bit of him and say, yes, he can make an impact. So you just got to get him out there on the field. Again, it may take a little bit of time, though, before he gets that full kind of starting presence.
And think about the fact that Jordan Davis year 1 was productive, but not super impressive. Jordan Davis in year 2 is a massive leap. I mean, it's leaps and bounds better than Jordan Davis year 1. So what if you have Jordan Davis year 3, Jalen Carter year 2, Sidney Brown year 2, and then Nolan Smith year 2? 2024 could be a very, very interesting season, and that's something that's going to get us all very excited when we get to the offseason. A couple super chats here for our jersey giveaway happening at the end of the third quarter on Sunday. Mellow Retro says, in regard to Hurts, I believe he's trying to work on his pocket passing. Seeing him take off less with his legs, I think that's intentional. It's either intentional from a coaching standpoint where they're saying, don't run as much, or secretly, in his own head, there's a scenario where Hurts is going, I need to make sure I don't get hurt, and so he's running a little bit less. Either way, not sure, but I kind of agree. He definitely is running less. And honestly, as long as they keep winning, I don't have a problem with it because some of the hits that he took last season were ones you'd like to avoid. Mike Halo, one entry here. He says $1 in a comment. $1. There you go. $1 is one entry. It's how it works. 20 bucks, 20 entries, and so on and so forth. With a lot of comments coming in right now, let's go ahead and get to a couple more of those. Bring on more Nolan Smith. Yes, that would be nice. It would be. Let's see. Sidney Brown would be great at the slot. Jordan Davis year 2 is already as good as year 1. I think he's better than year 1 Jordan Davis. Much better. If you want to follow anybody on Twitter, if you don't follow Brian Baldy, the former Eagle, was it defensive lineman, offensive lineman? I forget which position he played. Yeah. I met him twice in person. He's a really nice guy. But he was
at the Baylor game.
He was at the Baylor game, and yes, at a Baylor game back when we were in college. I met him here in Atlanta. He did something for our station, and so we got to kind of talk a little bit during a fantasy football draft for the on-air personalities and such. But he does a great job showcasing the trench battles. And Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith together are serious players. And when they had that whole safety by Nicholas Morrow, that's all because if you watch the slow motion replay, Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith both take double teams, and they both get all 4 of those offensive linemen on their backs. They fall to the ground, and so Morrow can just kind of jump over them and go tackle the back in the backfield. It's crazy. Year 3, Jordan Davis is going to be insane. Year 2, Jordan Davis is really good and much better than anyone thought he would be after what was a mediocre year 1 campaign.
Yes. I know the exact play that you're talking about and analyzing it going into. Yeah, it's insane. You're right. It's just the strength and the power that they play with. And it's kind of like initially you see Jordan Davis kind of get slightly off balance and, okay, maybe they're going to get a hole there. And then, I mean, it's like one little move and adjustment, and he's got both of them just pressing up and kind of completely shutting down that D-line. Or the offensive line from the D-line perspective. But yeah, and Nicholas Morrow had talked about it after the game too, saying like, hey, Desai was setting up a stunt where Jalen Carter wouldn't be doubled, and yet the Bucs determined or kind of dictated it, saying, no, we're going to double him, and he's still able to make a play there. Like he's pushing the front. You could see it on slow-mo from the other side. Yeah, the fact that they can both play together, and you can't overstate the ability to play with a former teammate, like a guy that you're very comfortable with. And again, I think we all know and realize Jalen Carter coming to the Eagles is the best fit ever and was going to be without a doubt. But him getting with Jordan Davis, we saw the reports early before saying it might be a better thing, and it's good for both of them, but it might be a better thing for Jordan Davis to have Jalen Carter there than vice versa. So it's like you can start seeing this too, I think, because Jordan Davis is, he's even called himself a social butterfly. He loves to talk. He loves the camaraderie. He needs someone to come with him, or doesn't need, but loves to have someone come with him to work out and just get motivated. So to have his guy there in Jalen Carter, I think they're pushing each other to the limits. And you've also got the great mentors, and we know with Fletcher Cox and having, the guys like that to help support. But to have your buddy there, I mean, you could just see they're having so much fun together. And the fact that they're so young, it's so great for us. I know the rest of the league's looking at it going, you got to be kidding me. This is ridiculous.
Let's go to the injury report. See some people asking about Sidney Brown being injured. Technically, yes, he did not participate in practice today with the hamstring. Justin Evans is dealing with a neck injury. He also did not participate. And Quez Watkins, that hamstring.
I don't know if I lost you. Can you hear me?
Oh, I got you. Can you hear me? I hear you. You still
I
got
can't
me?
hear you. I don't know if I can't hear you or
let's see in the
if
comment
everyone
section. Can
can't hear
everyone
you.
still hear me? I'm gonna pull up the stream on my side. I didn't see anything pop out. I can still hear myself. Let's see. We pull it up on my end, make sure we're still good to go. I assume my fiance, who watches every single one of these shows, would tell me if she couldn't hear me. So we're gonna find out here really quick. Yeah, I hear you, Josh. I hear you. All right, let's hang out for some technical difficulties here. Let me see if I can hear myself. Stream on my side. Yep, it's working on my side. I hear you both. They said so. This is on. Yep, they hear us both. Do you hear me? Check.
Now I can hear you. Yeah.
Did your AirPod die?
No, it didn't die. I was hearing. Okay. That's so strange because I could hear the others. I pulled up the stream or a different stream and I could hear that, but I couldn't hear you through the eCam.
Okay. I think we're good now. We're back.
Technical difficulties, but we're back.
We got a lot of comments saying they hear us both. So we're good. We appreciate you guys. Okay. All right, here we go. Back to the injury report. Quickly. Mentioned this earlier. Sidney Brown, DNP, Justin Evans, and Quez Watkins. Hamstrings are tricky, right? Obviously, Quez has a serious hamstring injury. The question is, how serious is Sidney Brown's hamstring injury? Because if you're like Britton Covey, it's a minor, hamstring injury. He's going to be just fine, right? He's going to be out there. He had a very good game returning punts, by the way. Thumbs up for Britton Covey. I'm very curious to see where Brown's hamstring is at. I didn't see anything today indicating how serious it was. Is that true on your end as well?
Yeah, it should be fine. From everything that I've read, Josh Tolentino appears to be the closest to the action. He did a feature on Sidney Brown, so I feel like he's got a little bit more of insight. And he was saying it doesn't appear serious. The Eagles are going to monitor, but they're not too concerned. That's the last that I heard. And then I don't know if you were saying it a second ago, but it just being a walkthrough, you kind of just guesstimate on what it is. So it's a DNP probably if they had a practice today. But yeah, I mean, with any hamstrings, as we know, you want to be cautious. It sounds like, and this is total speculation, just kind of piecing things together, but it sounds like Sidney Brown is going to be okay. And that Quez Watkins is a lot more of the concerning one because it's been, weeks now. You don't know, can he go? Will he be able to go? Possibly. But it seems like that one is a lot more of the serious injury in terms of the hamstring.
Yep. I would totally agree. I think they're both going to be fine. The big one for me was like 100% the fact that Landon Dickerson is okay. Because anytime you have, a big body who, gets up slow and it's lower body and it's, knee, he was a full participant today, and that is really good news. So 100% good in terms of the injury report. They're getting healthier, and that's the great news, right? If they can get to the Dolphins game and stay 100% healthy, then it's just 1 or 2 more games after that. You get to the bye week, you freshen up, and then you come steamrolling back with the Dallas game and the Bills game and the Chiefs game and so on and so forth. So it's going to be very, very interesting. Let's talk about something that I can't tell. I want to make sure you can still hear me, right? I can't tell. Nope. Can you? Oh, he's swapping AirPods here. See, we always get Josh with the AirPod problem because they're the wired AirPods. There they are. I'm telling you. You notice I got my big old headphones on tonight because my AirPods weren't charged. The AirPods and Josh have the worst relationship. Why I should have
never
the worst relationship.
Don't fix it. And for some reason, we tried.
Yep.
Not anymore.
Yep.
Okay.
All good.
I could hear what you were saying because it was through the computer. So I got you. I just had to switch in the middle of that. So.
Well, as I was saying, some people love this conversation we're about to begin. Some people hate it. The tush push, the brotherly shove. Do you care about the tush push, the brotherly shove? Because I got a lot of comments on my video today, which I want to explain to people in a second, saying they don't care about it anymore. My pushback is Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni, Dallas Goedert, and a couple of offensive linemen were all asked about the tush push today by Philadelphia media members. So the comment people don't care about it. Apparently, Philadelphia media members do. It's a big-time topic right now.
It is. It seems to be everywhere. To me, personally, I don't care. I really don't care at all. And I'd be curious to know, I mean, I know that J.J. Watt spoke out saying, like, it's not a problem. The Eagles are successful. Who cares? I'm curious how many, active athletes, active NFL players legitimately have come out and be like, oh, it's unfair. I hate the play. It's stupid, whatever. I haven't gone through and, tried to look and see how many of those, but it seems like this is just a big media storyline that people are pushing out there to, I don't know, because it's like there is a little bit of an unfair advantage, or maybe it doesn't look pretty or the prettiest for the game of football. But I mean, to me personally, I'm like, you know what, if you figured out a way to beat the game in the sense, more power to you. And teams can copy it. It's not like it's only us. Now, granted, they can't do it as successful because we've seen teams that can't do it. Right. But to me, I'm like, I don't care. It's not a big deal. Like, figure out how to stop it or implement it yourself and just guarantee yourself on, 4th and 1s, you're going to convert every time. But I don't know. I totally agree. And I saw it everywhere as people were going crazy about it, asking everyone. So I don't know. It's not a big deal to me.
JJ Watt backed this up today. He said, figure out a way to stop it. And this comes on the heels of my interview today with Stephen Che from Barstool Sports, who I randomly DM'd last night. If you didn't see this whole thing, he's the guy in Barstool who was watching the game with the Barstool people, and he said, hey, they should injure Jalen Hurts to make him stop doing this stupid play. Like, it was kind of a rough comment. And I watched that happen, and I went, he probably didn't mean it like that, but I bet he got drug on social media today through the ground because of it. What if you want to come on an Eagles show and talk about it? And sure enough, he immediately responded back. The guy has 200,000 followers on Twitter. He responds back, says, hey, I'll come on. So he comes on. We interview for about 20 minutes. It's great. I'm going to post it to Twitter. He's going to retweet it. It's going to go hopefully big on social media. And then today, the problem is, the second we finished our interview, Jalen Hurts called him out in his press conference. I don't know if you saw that. Jalen Hurts called the guy out in his press conference. And so he went, whoa, hold off on, posting this. I can't retweet, because he had to put his own Barstool Sports article up, come back at Jalen Hurts and apologize for wishing him harm and stuff like that. And so I thought I had an interview today that might go viral on social media. Unfortunately, it did not. It didn't really do that well, but it was still a fun interview with somebody who was very much against the Tush Push. Although I'm going to toot my own horn just a little bit here. Here's the Barstool Sports article. I have officially made it on Barstool Sports. There we are. I at least got a little plug on the actual article. Not that it means anything, but we did get featured. So it is what it is. I thought I was going to get some retweets today. I was like, Big Cat retweet. Where's Dave Portnoy retweet? No, not the case. We were searching for him, but what are you going to do? He got ripped, and probably rightfully so, because his comments were rough. But as he explained in my interview, they were taken out of context, and it was the heat of the moment, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I mean, I did see the interview there, and I was kind of wondering the same thing too, just timing and everything with that. But it's his comments. I'd never agree getting anyone injured, but sometimes people make stupid comments, especially in the heat of the moment, like you said, and within the game. He did share more. Again, for people that haven't watched the video, go check it out on Thomas's page there. But I don't know. To me, again, it's not a big deal. Like, I don't care that you hate the play, that your team can't run for some reason, because there's nothing that says you can't. There's nothing, absolutely nothing. And we've seen so many, it's a copycat league. Like, every other play, like whenever the wide receiver pick play got super successful and everyone's going to run those, and then it's like, okay, maybe you're going to make some adjustments for it or whatever. But until they come out, until the NFL and the rules committee come out and change the play or say that it's completely outlawed, who cares? You're taking advantage of a ability with the quarterback and the playmakers. And obviously there's a lot that goes into players being able to make it happen, because again, like we've said, not every team can do it. They can't be as efficient with it. So I don't know. It doesn't bother me. I don't care for it.
I just can't believe that there's no other quarterback who can do this. There's no other offensive line that can do this. You keep hearing that Jalen Hurts squats 600 pounds. That means he has that lower body strength. And then you hear, oh, well, they have Jordan Mailata and Jason Kelsey. You're telling me there aren't similar offensive lines with strong quarterbacks who should be able to do this, who can't? That the Eagles magically are the only team that's actually able to do it for some unknown reason? It's ridiculous. Teams don't try it. They simply don't try it. Either they didn't put enough work, and I think Philadelphia has really worked on this way more in practice than we would think. They're either not putting the work in, they're too lazy, or they're too prideful. There's some reason why it's not being taken over by the league, because I still told Steven today in the interview, if everybody's running this to the point that no 3rd and 1 is ever stopped ever, it's 92% completion rate, conversion rate across the league, sure, let's have a conversation. But when one team does it really well and no other team even attempts it, it's like, it's not our fault, right? Figure it out. Learn how to do it. If it works for us, maybe it'll work for you, maybe it won't. I don't know. It's ridiculous. It was ridiculous. But it was a fun interview, and it was fun to talk to somebody who was very much against it, because he was still very much against it. And Nick Wright came out and ripped it. Peter King called it an abomination. There are plenty of people in the national media who hate this play.
Can't stand it.
And they all seem to have other favorite teams beside the Eagles. And I think that might play a little bit of a role in there. Maybe not. We'll see.
Maybe. They hate us because they ain't us, but
it's something like that.
Can't fix that, but I'm sorry. I agree with you. I think there is something with the personnel and Stoutland and leverage and everything else, but still, there's got to be someone, like you say, there's got to be a team, if they really wanted to do it, that they could implement it. Granted, not everyone's quarterback is going to squat 600 plus pounds, and and I think if you get a taller quarterback, like for example, I would assume that Shane Steichen knows just about everything you need to implement that play, right? Because he was here and he saw it so successful. But he's got a very tall quarterback. Now, Anthony Richardson is incredibly athletic, but it comes down, as a lot of us know, to leverage there. And it's to get the center of attack and have the low point. Maybe it has to do with something like that, but it is the picture perfect with the player personnel, with who you have, and the play calling, and then also just the techniques and fundamentals. So I don't know how much they practice it. I know they mentioned they do practice it a lot, but comparatively, who knows? Are teams just kind of barely doing it? Like, yeah, let's line it for a QB sneak and do it a couple times, whereas the Eagles have maximized the practice.
Yeah,
I don't know, but it's one of the biggest advantages in football, because as soon as we get there, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. I mean, when we're streaming the games, both of us are saying, "Here it comes! Like, get ready," because know that's going to be the QB sneak, and they're going to get it. It's successful.
The quarterback who snuck it the most since 01, there's a whole article on this. Tom Brady, naturally. Next closest quarterback in terms of quarterback sneaks since 01, Drew Brees. Drew Brees didn't squat 600 pounds. He didn't come close to it.
No,
Donovan McNabb was in the top 5 of that list. Carson Wentz was in the top 5 of that list as well. Very interesting, just in terms of who was doing it and who was not. Let's get to some super chats here and some jersey entries. Kyle Patterson, she says, "Happy birthday, Josh." That is correct. Although today is not the day. Yesterday was Monday was Josh's official birthday, correct?
It was yesterday, actually. Yes. Yesterday was the birthday. So
okay, yesterday.
I appreciate that, though. Yes. Happy birthday to me and my twin, Caleb. It was his birthday.
That is right.
The big 3-1.
One of these days, we're gonna have to get your twin on this show so people can realize that you have like a legit like twin.
That would be fun. Yes,
it's pretty crazy. Like you guys,
we were potentially going to do it during the draft because you were going to go to the wedding that you had to be at. And it was like, hey, you come on for a little bit. It didn't end up happening because one of the other brothers had their baby, my niece. But one of these days that would be fun. Get him on there, see if people. I shared some pictures in today's video of us, and so you kind of see the similarities. But kind of see how close, if you could tell us apart really easily.
There you go. One's a doctor and one's on YouTube. Both having fun, though. How about that? Very different lives that the twins run, but very, very fun. Okay. Kai, we have your two entries.
I tell him he could do what I do, but you definitely wouldn't want
me to. That's a great point. That's a great point. 100%.
I would injure people.
We have Kai with the $2.
Yep,
Ryan, I think Grebe, say his last name. I have no clue. Happy Escape from the Womb Day, dude. There you go.
Appreciate
5
that.
entries into it's interesting that we're going to be giving people a gift for your birthday, as in a jersey giveaway, but I digress. Nathan says, Thomas, when Stephen, why make the argument you made at the end of your video to his face? Don't like the tush push, find a way to stop it. I had a couple people comment that I was too soft on him. It's a very fine line when you're interviewing someone like that, and the way that I took it was, I don't want to be a dick. I don't want to just yell at this guy for 20 minutes, because I'll give a little preview into the YouTube channel world. Not a lot of people want to interview with us. And it's not because we don't do a good job, I would argue. It's because there's a lot of people that don't do a good job. And if you go on one interview on somebody's channel or somebody's podcast trying to help them out, and it's rough, you don't want to do it again. And so I try to not ruin it for other people when I have guests on. I try to be respectful, I try to be professional, and I try to make sure that they have a good experience overall. And I prefaced when I messaged him, I said, hey man, I'm not trying to yell at you the entire time. I have a differing view. I want to hear your view. I think we have a good argument or conversation. And so, sure, I could have ripped him. I mean, anyone can. But if you have 200,000 followers, you work for Barstool or you work for ESPN and you're, on Get Up or something like that, you don't want to come on somebody's 20,000 sub YouTube channel to get berated for 20 minutes. And so I said, this is not the right move. I can push back, and if you watched it, I did, but it wasn't me being like, hey, you're an idiot. Why did you say that? Stupid. Because it's like, what's the point of him coming on there? So that's how I approached it. But I get where you guys are coming from. But I understand.
Yeah.
Fly Eagles Fly 97, 2 entries. Philly 500 and Joey Shakes to do a show with y'all. We've done one with 500, and we had Joey on the books. Joey was busy that night, though. So
a family deal. We totally understand.
Yeah.
We'll get him. We should get him.
We're trying.
Maybe one of these other upcoming weeks.
Listen,
possibly.
There are plenty of us who talk about Philadelphia and do it on a daily basis. We don't all have time to come on every single time together. During the playoffs, though, I'm going to try really hard to get as many of us on one screen at one time. I think it'd be worth it. There'd be a lot of talking heads, a lot of opinions, but it'd be worth it. So it'll be fun. A lot of happy birthdays for Josh in the comment section as well. Make sure you got Flag Goes Flies 2 entries in there before I remove it. Donato Dragon.
Okay.
Nick Wright annoys me more than Skip. Maybe. I don't know. I used to work for Nick Wright. For those of you who haven't seen me talk about a billion times here on, I was his intern at First Things First. Really nice guy, honestly. Like, a really nice guy. He works insanely hard, and he believes that every single crazy take that he actually comes out of his mouth. That was because he was big, LeBron's better than MJ when I was with him, because this was in 2017.
Yeah.
He fully believed it behind the scenes. It was not an act. And so I always give Nick Wright credit for that. I wish he'd come on my show, but I don't think he remembers who I am. But I don't know. Nick Wright is annoying, but he's annoying to the perfect amount to be a major cable network host, right? Skip's too annoying. It's like it's too much. It turns people off.
Yeah,
Nick
I can't watch.
Be annoying, but you'll still watch and not get annoyed of it, is how I view Nick Wright. So I like him, though. I think he's great. 3-0 legit does not show how overrated this team is. O-line, defense, and all this team is. Hurts does not look good. 1-yard rushing TD does not make a quarterback elite. There you go. There's someone who's not happy about it.
Okay, yeah. I mean, true, I guess a 1-yard rushing touchdown doesn't make someone elite, but at the same time, I mean, every single team, right? I mean, Nick Sirianni even said it. You're not really at this point playing your best football. Now, to what level, you could argue, okay, what percentage? If you want to name a percent, like out of 100% potential, what percentage are we playing right now?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, 70, 75%, maybe less even. But if that's the case, again, it goes back to what we were saying earlier. You're 3-0. You've won these games. You're taking care of business. You've had some injuries. You're having to kind of fight through the adversity. And then we talk about almost 1,000 yards if you add up the last 2 games and just dominating the Bucs. I mean, you held the ball for 9 minutes and 30 seconds on that last drive. Like that should not go unnoticed. Like, that is a huge thing when you can just say, hey, 9 minutes left. I mean, there's a reason that the Bucs didn't take an onside kick. They're down 14, and they didn't onside kick it thinking there's 9 minutes left on the clock. We're going to get the ball back with plenty of time to still score twice if we could actually go do that. And instead, the Eagles said, nah, we're going to just hold it the rest of the game. Game over. It's dominant, very dominant.
9-minute drive is a serious drive. It's a very serious drive. But, some people don't want to acknowledge that. Some people have to see like 3 touchdowns, no picks, 300-plus yards passing every single game to call themselves elite, right? Or to call Jalen Hurts elite. And I'm still waiting for that game. Maybe it happens on Sunday at the Link against a Washington Commander team that was obliterated by Josh Allen and company. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But until I see a major flaw, like Hurts has made some bad throws. Okay. Is it a major flaw that's costing you games? No, it hasn't, right? At all. Like, not even close. Until I start seeing that, then you can start to have that conversation. And we don't like to just rip on the Cowboys every full hour of every show that we do. But Dak Prescott makes mistakes, and it costs them games. Dak Prescott made a major mistake in the Cardinal game. It cost them that game, right? So
I'm not sure where he was throwing that ball, but
exactly. There's a difference between taking a shot to Devontae Smith, with a lead that's basically an arm punt that then results in a safety versus you're in the red zone and you throw it into triple coverage with Kaiser White hovering as a lurker or whatever you want to call it. It's just, there's a difference. So are there issues? Yes. Has Kansas City had issues? Yeah, they lost a game, right? The Dolphins, they kind of squeaked by the Patriots a couple weeks ago. I mean, it was a blowout in the fourth quarter, but it was close. Right? You go on the list. San Francisco had all they could handle with the Rams just last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. Everybody's had some sort of mediocre moment, mediocre game, but you know who's good and you know who's not, even when these things happen. That's why people unanimously say the Niners are good despite the Rams issue. The Eagles are good despite a little bit of a slow start here and there for Jalen Hurts. And the Chiefs are good despite losing week 1 to the Detroit Lions. So I'm not worried about it.
No, I'm not either. There's a lot of other things, too, that we can get better at. Again, if you're going to argue, is it an elite level of QB play? No, it's not. But again, to your point that you just brought up, I mean, who is right now? Because Joe Burrow has not looked like that. I know he's got the calf injury, and, what are the Bengals at this point? They saved their season, except it's early, but still a big win for him. But again, like, what quarterback is playing at that elite level yet? I think that you're going to see over these next couple weeks, that's where the teams start to begin to hit their stride. And same thing for the QBs. So I think we'll see that from Jalen. We're going to have more of that breakout game for him, or where you're sitting there going, okay, he saw everything. He was making checks. He was getting the reads. He was putting the ball on the money. It's bound to happen. But again, it was the flu game, and who knows to what extent and how much that affected him. But you got to say a little bit at least, because I don't think anybody, any of us operate 100% when you're sick, and especially with the flu-like symptoms. So I'm not concerned. No.
Let's go to Kai Patterson here with the super chat, getting another jersey giveaway. My boyfriend hates that I watch y'all during the game now. You guys are ruining my relationship. He's like, get them guys out of my living room. Hey.
Oh, no.
Listen,
Don't let us do that. That's
we don't want to ruin your relationship.
Shaky territory there.
We definitely don't want to. Maybe you can mute us during the game, play us during commercials to not,
I'm curious.
It's all about compromise, right?
Does your boyfriend, is there something in particular, that's, I guess, hates us the most, or the reason he doesn't want us to be on?
Well, my voice is annoying, so it could be that. You never know. It's something like that. That's what they say. I saw this. Where's this comment here? I saw a comment I thought was funny. Horval Samuel says both of you guys could pass as brothers. Go Birds. We could until you see us stand next to each other, and then I look like a little boy, and Josh is like 7'8". So it is a big change when we're actually standing side by side, because it's like
not quite that different.
It's like a Oompa Loompa and like Willy Wonka next to each other.
It was appropriate. We're in the AJ Brown and Devontae Smith at the NFC Championship game.
So if you see Josh's actual brothers, they're all like 6'3", 6'4". That entire family.
I'm the
massive.
shortest. Yeah, they're
the shortest. Right.
Make me feel small at 6'3". So yeah.
Yeah, not next to each other. Let's see. It's insanely impressive how the Eagles' offensive line and defense have been built. I plug in any quarterback there and they perform. Not being a hater, just facts. Eagles definitely top 5. Still, I think they'll improve. It's true. It's 100% true. I mean, the 49ers have a pretty good quarterback in Brock Purdy. He's not perfect. Brock Purdy makes 3 or 4 wild throws a game that either result in interceptions or just like drops or, over the top of his receiver, no harm, no foul. He's not a superstar, right? You put Patrick Mahomes on that 49er team, they might never lose a game, right? But the 49ers' offensive and defensive lines are insanely good. And the same can go for Philadelphia. Now, I would take Hurts over Purdy, as most every person with the same brain would do. But the Eagles' front 5 and their front 4 cover a bevy of sins. When you're creating running lanes that are the size of a Honda Civic and have about 9 yards of clearance in them, it's hard to lose a game. It's really, really hard to lose a game when that happens.
You see the amount of space that DeAndre Swift has to run through those holes, which granted, I don't know if we want to get there or not, but the whole question of RB1 and Kenny Gainwell and DeAndre Swift, and there's going to be those comments, and he's probably going to continue the entire season, I would guess. And you throw Rashaad Penny in there as well, although I think he's a complete afterthought to the Eagles staff because we haven't seen him, and it doesn't appear like they're ever going to put him in there unless they just absolutely have to with an injury or something. But still, it's like you go back to who is the running back going to be? And in specific situations, we were talking about it during the game, the concern or the comments, of like, why the heck is Gainwell out there when Swift has been running so successful and you need to run out the clock. Now the Eagles did it. There wasn't, I guess anything that came from that, but Sirianni even said it in the presser. He said, hey, we felt like we needed to kind of grind out the clock, run out the clock there and play some physical football. We felt like, Kenny's done that before. So we put him in. Now, me personally, if I've just got to choose between one of those runners, even in that situation, it's DeAndre Swift. Like, I don't view Kenny Gainwell as that type of player. You could argue, in the playoffs, he had some of those instances, but those are, I don't know. To me, it's just like you've got the holes opening up and the O-line blocking so well. But you take it back and look at the average yards per carry. It's not like the O-line is blocking worse for Kenny Gainwell than they are for DeAndre Swift. So there's something there with the vision, with the balance, with his moves, DeAndre's ability to see the field or make guys miss. But he is your RB1, and to me, there's just no argument you can make against that. So as many times as you can get him on the field. Now, I was okay. I'll say I was okay with him being off there because you're up 2 scores.
Right.
Rest him, not a big deal. But if this was a more important game, I'd say keep him in there. Like, we don't need to risk anything. You keep him in there. You keep your best players. I want to believe that's what the Eagles would do. But I know I've seen a lot of people concerned saying, what the heck? Why are the Eagles bringing in Gainwell when Swift's playing so well?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I thought about this earlier today. I think Gainwell could have a lot of success if he would have been, getting the bulk of the carries behind this offensive line on Monday night. I think he could have been similar. Now, I think, like you said, Swift is better. I think his vision's better. I think his cutback ability is a little better. And I think overall he's just a better running back, right? But I'm not here going to go ahead and sell out Gainwell and say he shouldn't get touches or he should be grossly limited in his touches. I think that they need to make sure, like you said, during pivotal times, they don't randomly go to Gainwell when Swift has been working the entire time. But I'm fine with working, Gainwell back into this offense a little bit more and letting it be a true 2-back system that's still 70-30, DeAndre Swift. I do think there's a fear with DeAndre Swift's injury history that at any point he could go down. And that's why Penny's on the roster, albeit not playing, and that's why they still obviously have Gainwell there. I think the fourth quarter was them trying to protect him, keep him safe, because they want to make sure he has as much juice as possible when they play games in January and when they play games in February. So I'm fine with mixing Gainwell back in there. There is no debate that Dandre Swift is much, much better, and he should be 70% plus of these carries. But I do think there's an argument that this offensive line is really, really good. And even with, a mediocre running back there, you're still going to get a bunch of rushing yards. I mean, he's got 300-something right now. And most of those are before contact. So unless Gainwell's unable to find giant holes, he would at least be similar, albeit maybe a little bit closer than some people would give him credit for. But I agree with you in the fact that you got to give Gainwell you got to give Swift as many touches as possible because the guy's electric, and he's the most electric back we've had in a very long time. He feels like what it was like when we signed Jay Ajayi, just way better. Just way more complete than Ajayi was, because Ajayi had a little bit of missing speed, right? Eric, 20 here on the entries into the jersey giveaway. We appreciate that. Go Birds from Long Beach, California. He wants a 68 Jordan Mailata. All right, that's a good jersey to get.
Okay, I like that.
All right, you can either have it in normal green, midnight green, or black if you win. So tune in to the stream of us on Sunday at the end of the third quarter. We will spin the wheels. So we got you down on that one. And there was a couple more I got to squeeze in here real quick. 10 from Kendu. He says that one pick Jalen threw got us 2 points, so not at all bad. True. I'd be terrified of being at my own 1 yard line against this defensive line. I'd be horrified. You can't run a simple draw. It's just not going to work, and clearly it didn't. Because these two jerseys you see on your screen, they're a problem together, man. They are a serious problem.
Will be for a long time.
Green Wingman said, with Swift playing so well, probably they could let Rashaad Penny go, maybe bringing a player on the trade deadline. Yes, although they would probably let somebody else go. I think you could let go of, a backup offensive lineman. You could let go of a wide receiver in terms of, Covey could cut him and send him to the practice squad and then elevate him again. I don't know, but sure, that is an option to get rid of Penny if you want to bring in somebody at the deadline. The question is really going to be, are they going to make a move at the deadline? And honestly, I don't know the answer to that. I saw people talking about Patrick Surtain today because the thought process is that the Denver Broncos are going to be sellers at the trade deadline.
I saw that too,
which has to be one of the stupidest things I've ever heard in my life, because if Denver wants to be not taken for the clown organization that they are right now, you don't trade your best player who's on a rookie contract. But I don't know who's going to be available at the trade deadline. No clue. But will they at least sniff around? Sure. But I keep saying but this team is pretty good as is right now, and barring a major injury, I'd be surprised if they made a major trade at the deadline that wasn't something minor.
Yeah. To your point, they're going to look around. It's not like how he's going to have no stone unturned, or at least no stone unturned. But I don't know. I mean, you look at the team. There's been some question marks. At linebacker, they've played better. Like let's give the linebackers a little bit of praise, right?
Yes, they have 100%.
Him played fairly well. So, is there a little bit of a week there? Would you want to solidify? Possibly, but you got Nakobe Dean that's going to be coming back week 6. What is he going to look like? I think he's going to be fine, but we've also been wondering too, is like we saw a little bit in preseason and a tiny bit in the regular season.
Yeah.
But have we seen enough to say like for sure he's going to be the guy? I don't know. Like that remains to be seen. But the hope and the thought process all along is getting Nakobe Dean back is going to be better for the linebacker group. And if it is, well, I'd say so far the linebackers have played fairly well. I mean, they could play better. There's some holes. And if you got to pick out a weakness on the defense, it's probably the linebacker position.
Yeah.
But it's been too glaring. And you did see an improvement from week 2 to week 3. I mean, let's face it. We're going into the week 3 game saying, okay, hopefully we see a little bit of difference here. I think the mini bye was great from a lot of phases. We talked about the offense earlier, but for the defense, it's make a big impact. And then for the safety spot, it keeps being the conversation. Linebacker and safety. Do you add someone? Do you get somebody else? Do you go get a slot, a true slot corner? I don't know. It remains to be seen, and like we're talking about, but I think that you do see there's some pieces potentially in a Sidney Brown in the linebacking group that you have now. You're getting Nakobe Dean back where maybe Howie makes a move, but he may not. It wouldn't surprise me if we're still winning and guys are kind of building some momentum. They're playing fairly well, that he goes, yeah, we don't actually really need to make a move in terms of a big splash. He may get an extra added piece or something, but not a big name. I know Budda Baker keeps getting thrown out there too and all that. Like, I don't know. I'm just not sure you would see a big name at that point.
Yeah, I mean, remember last year it was like the week before they traded for Robert Quinn, who turned out to be like a total bust, but it was still like a move. I was like, well, I guess we could use a backup pass rusher. So we'll just kind of, see what happens. But major move would be like Jonathan Taylor or Budda Baker, right? That's a major move. A mediocre move would be like some random third-string nickel cornerback on, the Bears or whatever. I don't know who the Bears have.
Or bringing back Ndamukong Suh.
Right. Minor stuff. So we'll see. Kai Patterson says, any truth in Nick taking over play calling rumors? I don't know any rumor about this, but there was a moment, and I remember this from Monday Night Football, where it was like a situation on third down, and Nick had his little play sheet and was saying something, whether he's talking to Brian Johnson, because they had them side by side, and Johnson wasn't saying anything, and Nick was, and it was right when the play call was going to happen. So I don't know if he's calling plays. I'm sure there are moments during the game where he calls a play or inputs a play, right? He's the head coach. The whole offense is his design, right? Brian Johnson coordinates it, but Nick Sirianni is an offensive-minded head coach. He's in the meetings every single week. So I don't know. Is he? Is he not? I don't think it makes a difference, right?
I don't know either. Yeah, I mean it's early, so but I do think that the rumors are stemming from, you talk about that picture there where Sirianni's got the play calling sheet. I think that's where it is. People see it and you're thinking, okay, maybe he's doing something there, but we won't ever know probably. But the fact that the play calling hasn't been 100%, and Sirianni even said play calling will get better, should get better. He's kind of coming right out and saying a lot of times it's tight-lipped, or it's just the political correct answer of, we're just improved, we're just getting better, like where we're at. So he didn't say that. He did say it needs to be better. Now, does that mean that he's going to call more plays or he's going to take over on that side? No, I don't think so. I don't think that that's to the drastic measure there. But perhaps, situationally, maybe there was something that he liked that he would, looks at Brian and says, hey, I got this, I don't know. Or he's looking at a play sheet to call for a couple different situations. Say, hey, if we get this play, we're going to go for it on fourth, or whatever the case may be there. I don't know, but we'll probably never know officially.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Sidney Brown should move back to safety opposite of Blankenship. He's earned more playing time, especially with Edmunds injured. Yeah, I think they like Edmunds' tackling ability. I think that Edmunds has some cerebral, veteran abilities, if that's a word, that Desai likes to see out there. But we talked about this at the beginning. Sidney Brown is earning his reps. 0 week 1, 1 week 2, 12 on Monday night. I assume more on Sunday against the Washington Commanders. It's trending up. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Yep.
Unless he's seriously injured on the hamstring. But from all reports that we've seen, and sounds like Josh Tolentino is the closest, that it shouldn't be serious. He said it wasn't serious. He tweeted right after, and then he's followed up on it too, just saying that they're going to monitor it. But I assume that he's going to be fine. And then, to your point, if he is, he better play as many, if not more, snaps. That's what I want to see. I think that's what a lot of people want to see.
I saw this comment a couple times earlier. Here it is on a super chat from LJ. 2 entries into our jersey giveaway happening at the end of the third quarter on Sunday. Thoughts on Chris Sims saying to injure Jalen Hurts? I was going to ask you about this, but now that we've been prompted on it. First off, I will say, Chris Sims does not help his case because he's always been critical of Jalen Hurts, and that's been well chronicled, and Eagle fans hate him for it. Chris Sims' point was actually kind of accurate in the fact that I would not be surprised if some NFL defensive coordinators are saying, make Jalen Hurts pay every time he does that. It's the only way you're going to get him to stop it. Now, the way he said it, saying, kill him, injure him, because it's coming out of Chris Sims' mouth, we all are like, are you kidding me? But I think his point was to say that a lot of defenses can't stop it, and their only option is going to be to make the Eagles stop running it, and you do that by punishing Hurts. The problem is, I'm sure teams have been doing that. It's very hard to punish Hurts when you're this close to him, right? Like the impact, it's like a 3-inch punch, right? Unless you're Jackie Chan, there's not much there. So this whole idea of you're going to injure Jalen Hurts, unless you get a running start and spear him in the back of the head, I don't think it's going to make a big difference. I hate that it's, of course, Chris Sims, because Chris Sims has been a chronicled hater of Jalen Hurts, and it's ridiculous the things that he said in the past. And his inability to just admit that Jalen Hurts is actually a decent quarterback and not totally garbage, like his rankings had him at, 40 2 years ago behind Kellen Mond or whatever. So it was dumb, but I technically get what he was trying to say, but in classic Chris Sims fashion, he can't word it properly enough to get us off his back. So that was my take on it.
I agree. I mean, I don't listen to him very often at all.
I don't either. At all.
Whenever it comes into the Twitter feed and someone's reacting to it. But I agree. He's saying stuff. A lot of times it's for clicks. He knows people are gonna do it for the reaction. How much did he say? It did sound like he misspoke. He kind of tried to come back and correct or be like, really. But still, how much is for show? What's he actually mean? I don't know. But it's not a great look, to your point. You're not intentionally trying to hurt someone. You never should be. But I mean, it's not like the defenses are not scheming, saying, "Hey, how do we get a
right.
advantage here? We got to get to Jalen. We got to make the offense think twice about doing it." So I'm sure that it happens. I mean, at the bottom of the pile, whenever there's fumbles, you hear stories and commentators sharing other stories and stuff. You're getting little hits every once in a while.
Eyes, yeah, grabbing private parts. Oh yeah,
it's probably happening. Yeah, it's not just the Mac Joneses of the world that'll do it when they're standing up. So it'll happen under the pile as well. But yeah, I don't know. Chris Sims, Sherry's praise list says Chris Sims' relevance in subhuman form. So, I don't really follow him too much, but
yeah, I honestly have never listened to him and Florio's, radio show, TV show. I've only ever seen clips on Twitter. I have never once had a desire to listen to them talk about the NFL. Whereas I'll listen to Cowherd. I think Get Up sometimes when they have, certain people on there that aren't annoying is fine. But in terms of a national show, I have no interest in listening to Chris Sims talk to me about anything. Just, I'll watch his tweets, and I think that's how a lot of people are. So it happens that way. Let's quickly mention, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. We have a survey we'd like for you guys to help us out on here. We might be trying to work with some partners who are curious about some of our people who watch who are into sports betting. If you're into sports betting, there's a form I'm dropping in the link right in the chat. It's also in my description box. You can fill out this super quick survey for us. It's helping us out with some partners here, and it's really basic stuff, right? I mean, you see it on your screen, have you used any sports books? How often do you use them? How often do you do with your primary bookie? It's really, really simple. It's one page, and you just check the box or whatever. So if you're into sports betting, you've done it before, you can use the link that I'm posting right here. Check out our survey. We'd greatly appreciate that. It's going to help both of our channels out, hopefully in the future. If you're not into sports betting, then ignore it. So just throw that out there really, really quickly. We want to get that on there.
There you go.
So it helps out.
We'll have some giveaways, if it works out. So that's where it's going for. Again, for those that are interested, but
so brief, but we would greatly appreciate it. All right, we're almost to an hour. Let's kind of start heading towards the exit here. Get to a couple more questions. People are talking about how Brady did it 82% of the time. You only play devil's advocate on the tush push for 2 seconds. The difference between Brady and Hurts, Brady would just sneak it. Jalen Hurts is getting pushed and pulled. And I think that's where you get a little bit of this argument that makes sense from the other side, is that maybe you ban 3 people pushing him, which I think is kind of ridiculous because people push all the time. I think it's the pulling, where Dallas Goedert kind of grabs him and pulls him across the line. It's legal, and so obviously you should do it. But if you want to play devil's advocate, that's where I think maybe they could make a rule. But it's such a hard rule to enforce. And again, if Dallas Goedert can do it with Jalen Hurts, why can't Travis Kelce do it with Patrick Mahomes, or Noah Fant do it with Geno Smith, right?
Yeah.
Everybody else, you can do it, and that's what's so crazy. That's what's so crazy to me, is that you can absolutely do these things, but teams are not saying so. Didn't Sean Payton say he was going to run it every 4th and 1? Have the Broncos run it once? Now, they haven't had a lot of 4th and 1s, but I don't think they have.
True. There's not been too many, but I know he was going to do it every single play, every time that he gets short yardage. He's like, all right, I'm going to do it all the time, but yeah, I don't think they have either. I think that there's a couple different parts to it. It's you don't want to injure your quarterback possibly, because there is the chance or the risk of that. Let's not forget. I can't remember which game, but Patrick Mahomes going in for the QB sneak and he injures his knee, I think. So just bad memories of it. But there's something for some reason that the teams, like we talked about, that can't actually do it. And it's not the same type of format. I agree. It probably shouldn't be the whole drag them across the line, but I'm perfectly fine if you want to say, hey, you know what, this is smash mouth football. We're going to line up our big guys against yours and just ram it in there until, hey, someone actually goes across the goal line. But unfortunately, it doesn't work for any team except for the Eagles. So, hey, that's what we do.
Yep. I totally agree. What was I going to say here? Oh, yeah. I'm very curious. We have to at least bring this up. Do you see the New Heights episode today with Jason and Travis?
Yes.
Was it the most disappointing 2 minutes on Taylor Swift that you ever could have expected? They hyped that up so much, we were going to get a detailed rundown of their dating life, and we got about 2 minutes of Travis being like, yep, it's crazy. Yeah. We hung out, and that was it. They did a great job overselling that, because during their little live broadcast, whatever they do, the YouTube premiere of New Heights, there were 100,000 people watching, and most of them were Swifties because it's a psycho fan base. But they gave you this much on their relationship, and it was funny because we all thought it was going to be a lot more. By the way, breaking news, apparently Taylor Swift will be in attendance for the Chiefs-Jets game on Sunday Night Football. So get ready if you were tired of it for more Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce nonsense out there. So
yeah, it's going to be nonstop. But that's how you get the people to, what was it? Travis Kelce's jersey sales was it 1,000%? That may be too high, but it was something crazy of the number of increase. So the Swifties are real, as everyone knows. But yeah, I thought it was funny too. I'm like, oh, you're going to get an interesting breakdown, but it's almost like they had a conversation beforehand, and I don't know who it was. If it was Taylor or if it was both sides or what.
What's he going to
say? We're not going to share too much here. So
what's he going to say?
Because how much can he share anyway? But still, it's like they hyped it up like we might get all the details there. It's like, okay, really?
I cannot imagine what it is like to date somebody of her fame. Like, it's not like dating some random, like Josh Allen is dating one of the movie stars. I can't even name her name. She was in like some Marvel movie recently. Like, who cares? Like, Taylor Swift is so much bigger, and I'm not a Swiftie by any means, but like, it's a cult following. I just can't imagine how you go out with somebody like that and have any sort of normal time, right? Because it's just, did you see that they snuck her out of the box and like that popcorn machine? Allegedly? Yeah. It's crazy.
I know.
It's crazy.
It is nuts, everything that they deal with. I don't know. I would never want to be there. I'm not a huge fan. Just, it's
not either
for those that are, but
sure.
It's whatever.
Sure.
But if she is, as LJ says, doing dark arts on behalf of the Bird Gang, if she hold on, just stick with Travis until the Super Bowl week, or a little bit before, and then maybe a little heartbreak action.
Oh,
but
my goodness.
No, I'm not going to wish anything negative. I'm really surprised. I didn't really see that one coming, but as the news kept building, then you're like, okay, maybe this thing's legit.
Hey, if she needs more content for some new albums, she's about to have it. Let's just say that. The Breakup is going to have a whole album of its own. And then, like they say, she helps the economy every time she has a concert in someone's state. Like the economy booms because of how many people buy stuff at those things. So
there's
should be
a lot
fun.
Of people there. So
let's get back to football.
I appreciate you guys doing the survey, even though Sean said that survey took the life out of me. I apologize.
Sorry, Sean.
I don't know what that makes my push-up total up to.
Yeah.
But I'll get him in. I'll get him in eventually.
Joseph says that throw by Jalen to Oz was an absolute bomb. Yes, it was. And we both did shows on that with our breakdowns. I mean, that's as good of a throw as you can absolutely make. And it's worth noting, Jalen Hurts last year probably takes that ball, tucks it, and runs. He had running room up the middle. Jalen Hurts this year stayed in the pocket. He had unbelievable protection almost all night long. 1 sack, I think, the entire night. And to be able to find him was absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And by the way, the Bucs blitzed Hurts 75% of his dropbacks on Monday night. I just read that tweet. 75%.
Goodness gracious. I knew
that
it was a lot.
Their idea to try to get him, to stop. And it didn't work out, and why a lot of those runs hit as well because they were pass blitzes, not run blitzes, and the holes were just parting like the Red Sea. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's I don't know, but I mean the fact that they tried to blitz someone, but you're trying different things, so I guess you're gonna get creative. But I knew it was a lot, but before seeing that, I was like, good God, or whenever I saw that, I was like, good gosh, because that is, I mean, almost nonstop, like you say. But again, I mean, kudos to Jalen, who did not have his best game, but there were times that he did. He stayed in the pocket where situations like you'd see in the past, he would have taken off and run, and he had to take a shot to throw that ball to Zacchaeus. He did have to take a shot at the end, and I think both of us in the live action were like, "Oh, it's picked. No, it's a touchdown. He scored." So it was a very close window, but he threw it there. And is Oz your answer at slot? There's people start going, "Oh, hey, Oz is new wide receiver 3. It's not Quez Watkins because he's not playing." I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's too early. Sean says, Jeffrey said Taylor Swift's worth $875 million. Yeah. Again, that goes back to me saying, what do they talk about on their dates? Like, what the heck would you talk about with Taylor? Like, Jason Kelce is a celebrity, but he's kind of just a dude, right? Like, she's on a whole different level. What do you talk about? I have no clue. And how do you get alone time when she probably has all the security and handlers and publicists? It's got to be crazy.
It's
Sean
impossible.
says, best Kelce Swift joke I've heard is Kelce's always scoring 6s on and off the field. Okay, that's a good one. I heard that's pretty good.
He's hosting Saturday Night Live. You know that?
Is he really?
This week, yeah. He's going to do it again.
What if it's all like a PR stunt? What if it's just a PR stunt?
I'm sure it is. Because I don't know this for a fact, but I'm just assuming. So
he said, "I'm sure it is."
But the thing that it's like, okay, the Swift news, and then he's hosting SNL.
Yeah.
I know those things are usually planned out a little bit in advance, but I'm thinking that that had to be
he has
like,
a
oh, okay, now
commercial
he's
with
going
some
to do
sort
it
of
again.
pharmaceutical company pushing something, right when it started happening. I don't know. I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting. Our offense will be fine. The fact that D is strong, is welcome surprise this far, says LJ. I agree. By the way, my fiance just texted me and said, you're obsessed with talking about Taylor Swift, so I've been busted. There you go.
Okay.
No more Taylor Swift conversation.
Right.
I reached my cap today. Yep, I'm busted. All right.
That's it.
Back to football. LJ says, I expect the defense to be dominant. Week 3 was the first time I thought we looked good. I would agree. I, too, like talking about football. I would agree. Defense did look very dominant. It did, though, honestly, 100%.
It really did, and it's been surprising, too. I mean, because I think that we were all in the boat of I thought that this defense could be better than last season, but you come into it, you got a new scheme. We see the soft zone coverage in the first couple weeks, especially with week 1, but it's early. There's some rust and all that, but I don't know that going into the season, we had Philly 500 on a couple weeks ago. We're talking and asking him too, like, hey, do you see a specific side of the ball carrying one? And he's like, I see the offense, hitting their stride early and having to carry the defense before the defense gets caught up to speed or later in the year. And I feel like that's the thought process for a lot of people is, yes, there's going to be Brian Johnson and some growing pains as far as the play calling, but it didn't feel like there's as much changing there as there would be on the defensive side.
Yeah.
But it's almost been vice versa. It's almost been flipped on that because both sides have played well. They've had their moments, but just in general, especially looking at this last game, I mean, the defense has made plays and not only with the turnovers, because they gave up a lot of yards, and I know the Vikings, made it respectable and covered or whatever, but they didn't really have a chance to win that game. But they're turning the ball over. They're creating those turnovers. And now you see in the last game, it's not only just the turnovers, but 174 yards total offense. So it's a little surprising to me. I don't know if that's what you expected, but just to see the defense and being, I don't know if it's fully going to dominate. They dominated the Bucs. I don't know if we'd say dominant yet, but they're incredible rush defense, and there's a lot of potential there.
It's hard to dominate anybody, you almost are guaranteed to give up 20 points a game. Even the Dolphins, who were dominating the Broncos, give up 20 points, right? It's hard to dominate and win 31-0.
You kind of just go into full prevent the rest of the game. But I hear you. Yes, you're right. You're right.
But will they ever beat somebody, the brakes off of somebody? Probably not. But I do feel like this defense, if Reddick became 2022 Reddick this year, this defense is better. That's the one piece that's lacking. Truly, it's the one piece that's lacking because they feel better internally because of Davis plus Carter versus what it was because they have Cox rotating in there as well, who's doing great analytically. I mean, he's making a lot of pressures and stuff that's popping up in PFF. Pass rush has been there on the other side, opposite of Reddick. The corners seem fine. They're banging up, battling some injuries. Safety spot, if it's a downgrade, it's a minor downgrade. Linebacker, maybe a minor downgrade so far. Hasn't really cost us yet. You give me 2022 Reddick on this defense, getting 3 sacks a game, then suddenly this defense is better than it was last year. And that's a scary sight because they really pinned their ears back in the postseason. And while people like to complain about the fact that, the Eagles shouldn't have beaten the 49ers, Niners weren't moving on that offense at all until even with the injury. But, Reddick, massive impact in that game. I think we just need to see him get going. And the hope is that he will, but there's no guarantee. We're 3 weeks in, right? Come on, you got to start figuring it out sooner rather than later.
Yeah. You would have hoped that he'd gotten a sack, done a little bit in the past one. We were never going to, or very slim chance, to repeat the 70 sacks or get to that 70 sack total. But still, there's some guys mainly with Reddick, and the question is, how much does the thumb play a factor? It's hard to know for sure. It's probably playing a little bit, but is it drastic difference? And to say he's got no sacks yet, I don't know, but I'm with you. Yes, if he can get to that next level, if he can find the gear, or if it's the thumb healing and getting recovered there, whenever it happens, once he's starting to get extra pressure on that side, then all bets are off. It's good luck stopping anybody. Now, again, he's gotten, from what I've seen, the tweets and kind of the analytics, he's gotten more help in terms of double teams and chips and stuff like that. So it's probably a little more difficult for him, no lie, but he still could have, you'd hope, a sack by this point, a couple more QB hits or pressures. But I think it's only a matter of time. I really do. He's extra motivated. I think we'll start seeing it.
Washington gave up how many sacks to Buffalo? Was it 9? Was it 10? It was a big number.
Yeah,
it was a big number at FedEx Field on Sunday. So
there's a reason the Eagles are -8 going into this game. So it's Vegas thinks this will be a blowout. I think when you look at the D-line, the way the Eagles have it, and the fact that the Commanders are struggling to protect their quarterback, that adds up.
Yeah, I agree. All right, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight on the Wednesday Link Live. You guys missed it. Well, it's going to be posted to our channels in like 3 seconds. You can watch it back as if you're listening to a podcast, right? It's just as fun, even though it's not live. Josh, I appreciate you. Obviously, happy birthday. A little bit late here yesterday, but officially into the new birth year. And I'm looking forward to Eagles-Dolphins in a couple of weeks. We get to hang out in Philadelphia with our significant others, so it's going to be fun. Very fun for that. Hopefully, we'll see some of you guys. We're going to be there. We have to go to Independence Hall. I've never been inside Independence Hall, only on the outside on a Sunday tour before the game. That'd be fun.
Looking forward to that. Yep.
It's going to be a lot of fun. All right. Appreciate you guys. For Josh Davis, I'm Thomas Mott. Signing off. See ya.
We'll see ya. Go Birds.